this one kid. I set up the table. I had a little book. I always like to use books with my instruction. And I had a little child scissors on the table and the glue and paste and everything that I thought that I would need. And the chair was sitting there, and he walked in and he sees the child scissors on the table. He takes the chair, kicks it. The chair does a somersault, kind of like a triple, then it lands, right? And I'm like, oh no. So like I basically duck, and I didn't quite, but I am like, oh no, what's going on? Because he comes in with his therapist. He had a one-on-one therapist. These kids were tough. And I look at him, gulp, and then his therapist says, okay, come on. She didn't know that you didn't like to use child scissors. Come on, sit down. It'll be okay. She's new. It'll be okay. So then he sits down, and we get to working. We get some things going. And all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, you're really a nice kid. And he's like, shut up. And that's what he goes like, nobody's ever said that to me before. So I start laughing because I was kind of like little Pollyanna, right? Like, oh, you really are a nice kid. Shut up. So then,
I'll take that back.
So then, but from that point on, we were friends. And it was just like, we made, like, I was like, okay, you're right. You were kind of nasty. Like,
Okay.
But
All right, so 2019 Tell-A-Bration.
Oh, okay. They're coming up.
And
November is the month for Tell-A-Brations.
Is this just in Connecticut?
There's some in Massachusetts, and it's kind of becoming more known, but it was started in Connecticut. The first Tell-A-Bration was in Rowayton, right down in the Gold Coast area. And that's like the biggest one. That's maybe like some of the best storytelling that goes on. These people have been doing it for a long time, and they're really good. They're really polished.
They're done in sessions?
Oh, yeah. There's 30, I should have brought my map. There's 30 Tell-A-Brations, different sites across the entire state of Connecticut where Tell-A-Brations are going on.
Right.
And this is one of the big fundraisers. So I contacted Rotary and said, would you help support us? Because this helps support Connecticut Storytelling Center. Would you be willing to do this, to pay for you don't pay the tellers. The tellers are volunteering, so the money goes to Connecticut Storytelling Center to fund the other programs. And one of the biggest programs is the schools program. So we go in and introduce literature and getting the kids to sit, because I used to work in New London too. So just getting the kids to sit and to listen and have book handling skills, knowing how to turn the pages, knowing to go from left to right, top to bottom, all of those things.
Is it usually on a Saturday or a Sunday, or is it during the week? When is it?
When? The storytelling?
Yeah, the Tell-A-Brations.
Mine's on a Thursday night.
Where's yours?
At East Lyme Community Center on November 14th on Society Road.
Yeah.
And that's at 7 o'clock on November 14th.
What day is that? Oh, Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay.
And then there's going to be one on Saturday at the Dragon's Egg in Stonington. I think that's where that is, Stonington or Mystic. And then there's going to be one in Rowayton. I think that's the 26th of November. So but if you go to
I'll look it up.
Yeah, if you go to constorycenter.org and push Tell-A-Bration on the website, then you'll see all of the different locations, and you can find.
Right. I did see that. So it sounds great.
It's a movement, Eric. You have to understand, it's a movement, because we're living in a world where people are doing this all the time.
All the time.
Right?
They don't pay attention.
But you pay attention when someone's telling you a story.
True.
You do, right?
Yeah, well, you're going like this. These kids are going like this, and they're texting each other, and they're texting the person who's right next to them. They don't know how to talk to each other.
Exactly.
So.
And it takes that away. It takes it so people are doing the turn-taking, the exchanging, the understanding, the reading, the body language.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, life skills. It's beautiful. It's a good thing.
It really does sound great, and I'm going to try to definitely make one of these. Because I'm busy on I have a
Thursdays aren't good for you.
No, actually Saturdays are not necessarily good for me. The November 2nd, 9th, and 23rd, I'll be doing arts and craft shows. in Connecticut, but actually what, Oswegatchie School, Waterford Community Center, and the Otis Library.
Nice.
So, all right. Your other situation, you're running for the Board of Education.
I am.
And this is, well, I just found this out. So why are you do your storytellings and stuff, how, you've lived in East Lyme for how long now?
23 years.
And
My kids went to school and did really well. My daughter said to me, Mom, why are we going to public school when you and Dad went to private schools? I said, because you don't need to go to a private school. The public school is really good here.
yeah,
And they got a really good education. We were very
That's
fortunate.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. My attitude was when my kids went to, instead of going to private school, I said, we pay the taxes to New London. You need to go to New London School. And they did great.
Yeah.
They did great at that time. So why the Board of Ed?
I think I can make a difference. I think I can give back. I have a lot of ideas. I'm a creative thinker.
Yeah.
You can tell that already.
What's wrong with the Board of Education at this time?
Nothing, as far as I'm concerned.
Isn't that you're saying that if nothing's wrong, why don't we keep the same people there?
Oh, because people finish their terms and they don't want to continue.
Oh, are there term limits in East Lyme?
Well, term limits, like they don't want to do it anymore. Somebody moves away, something like that. So there's some openings. And so I said, hey, I know a lot about it.
Yeah.
I worked as a speech pathologist in schools. I worked from birth to adult.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in Nebraska, Iowa, Utah, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Connecticut. I've done all grades. I've done special ed.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in the classroom. I've worked outside of the classroom. I got my 6th year. I taught education psychology at Sacred Heart University. And I taught tests and measurements at Eastern Connecticut State University. So I've had pretty wealth of experience.
So you're qualified.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think I get it. And my husband was on the Board of Ed previously, and I kind of already did it by giving him ideas of how things could be done and structured. I think that we need to help develop programs and develop thinking and develop ways of solving problems. I think sometimes there's a lack of energy that goes on in schools, that people get so caught up into how they've done things that perhaps like a little spark of joy or spark of energy can bring them into another thing. I'll tell you an example of that. For instance, I have a friend who got me connected, and I went to the coffee house for veterans that just opened up in Waterford on Tuesday. There's at the youth center, 200 Boston Post Road in Waterford. Just opened up on Tuesday. So he invited me to come, and he's talking about the Veterans Project. And the Veterans Project is getting veterans to tell their stories to 10th graders and above. So then I contacted the history teacher that I know that taught my kids and said, is this something that you might be interested in? So then I let my friend know, the veteran, that there might be a connection for him. Like, wouldn't that be a great project for kids?
So you want to bring this into East Lyme now?
Of course.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
to me, it's just like, it'd be motivating for the kids. It would be inspirational. It would help the veteran. It's a win-win for the whole community.
Do you know what East Lyme's
Veteran population?
No, not the veteran, but East Lyme's budget for the school budget is?
It's about 67% of the entire budget.
Okay, so do they need more money, or the people like in New London, the people are always arguing,
of course,
that the school wastes too much money, that they're paying 6-figure salaries to people in the administrative office, to almost everybody, it seems like. It's a big waste of money, and every year they ask for more and more and more, and they've gotten pushed back a number of years. They get more money I think New London is, to me, New London is a waste of money, because we don't see the numbers ever going up. They may say it, but they're still in the bottom.
Numbers as far as
10%.
student performance.
Right. We're still in the bottom, like number, out of 56 communities or something like that, we're like number 51 or 52 or something like that. It's just, they keep pouring more and more, and it's not, they're saying, well, we need the new building, and it was supposed to, it's not the building that educates, it's the teachers. And it's just that there's a big problem in New London. I know East Lyme has a good school program. So, and I like their high school. I like, my wife uses the community center in East Lyme all the time, because for events or things like that. So, what does East Lyme need? Well, now that East Lyme's getting Costco and the whole town's growing in that sense, what does East Lyme need regarding their education for these kids? And
there's been a little bit of a plateau.
Yeah.
And there's a concern with that. And of course, the budget's always a concern. So what I think that we need to do is think outside of the box somehow. Like, how can we get better programs, better intervention, earlier intervention, getting more of our seniors involved, getting our school usage up, having different programs at night. I think that our seniors could really benefit from either teaching or volunteering or being available and having different opportunities to give back, because we have brilliant people. We have retired scientists, we have retired artists, we have retired musicians, we have retired everything. A lot of retired professional, a lot of retired military people. If we could get them more energized and out there and active, they'll live 10, 15, 20 years longer if they're engaged and part of the
right. That's absolutely true.
Right.
And I mean, that sounds great. It does sound great. What how many people are actually, is it on the Board of Ed? Is it 7?
I believe that's correct.
So the same thing with Newland. So 7 Board of Eds, and what do they run? And I know they have a Board of Selectmen and things like that.
Correct.
How well do they work? The Board of Ed side and the town side. They're not a city; they're a town. How do they work together? Do they work well together?
I hope so. That's my plan. I think that it's all about civility and all about coming to the table, and it's just like storytelling. It's all about communication, sharing ideas, being open to ideas, being fiscally responsible, saying how can we make this work. I talked to our superintendent about the idea that I had. One idea I had is, why not let the seniors ride the buses?
Ride the buses?
Yeah, why not?
Seniors are not allowed to ride buses?
The school buses.
Yeah, why not?
They don't.
Is that choice because they've got their license or something that they choose? I remember I didn't ride school buses when I was a senior.
See?
Well,
No,
not
seniors, not seniors in high school. Seniors, 55 and older.
Oh, 55 and older.
Senior citizens.
Okay, to ride the school buses?
Yeah, why not?
To go where?
To go to the school, to volunteer if they want to.
Oh, if they want to
To have transportation around town if they want to. These buses
but they have a senior center.
Right.
And is there a senior?
But it's crowded. It's really crowded.
That's a nice senior center too. So, doesn't the seniors? Do they have a senior bus?
Yes.
That they can ride and stuff like that.
Yes.
So that's what they're. So they don't know that are they allowed to ride the school buses?
That's what I think would be a great idea. That's what I'm trying to propose. That's one idea.
And this would be just to go to the schools.
I don't know. I mean, I just think we need to look at what I
Open
call
the area. Do you know the percentage population of, I hate to say it like this, but whites compared to blacks, Hispanics, I know, or Asians or things like that. I don't think there's a big
We're
black
largely
population.
white.
You're largely white. I know that there was, and it's not low income. I know that. I know East Lyme also just got okayed for I think it was a low income project, housing project they've been asking for years and years. And my attitude, okay, maybe there should be, but if you want to move to East Lyme, I remember this years ago. This lady wanted to move to East Lyme. She couldn't find a house that she could afford, and she was complaining. That's not East Lyme's fault. That's your fault. And why should something be opened up just for you because you can't find where you want to live? Then, I mean, maybe you need to figure out something different or something. I don't think that a town should be creating housing for an individual or whatever it is, just because they want to come into the town, they can't find it. I think in Waterford, you see these small houses. I know their prices are
it's crazy.
200. It's crazy.
We had sticker shock when we moved here.
But yeah, it is. But New London, you've got houses in New London that should be selling, say, for $150,000 and going for under 100, or some that should be 100 and going for 40s or 50s.
But then in New London, you have the taxes, right?
That's right. High tax. We have high taxes, and it's well, it's also because there's so much non-taxable property.
Right.
I'm not sure that East Lyme has that, even though I'd like the idea that you're going to the AHEPA building for the storytelling. I like the AHEPA buildings. I think they're very, I would like to see a lot more of those built. But
there's one in Waterford.
One.
Right.
There's one in Groton. One.
Right.
But you've got three
in Niantic.
In Niantic,
right.
East Lyme.
They're beautiful.
So, yeah, they are. They are. So how can people who want to get to East Lyme, Niantic, is there affordable housing for them? Look on High Street, how they're building those, or I don't even know if they're done. They're building those condominiums on the south side now of that street, and they're very expensive. The north side is all taken, and they're expensive. That's going to bring more of the upper class people. Is that what East Lyme wants to be?
I don't know. I'm running for Board of Ed, so I really don't have an answer to that question. I don't think so. I think we want to open up. I think we want to be more culturally diverse. I think we want to be accepting of people of different.
So what about is there a language problem in the schools in East Lyme? Like, because you've got something like 75 languages spoken in New London, but are there languages taught for English as a second language or anything like that? Or is it most of the kids, when they come in there, they are speaking English, so they're taking a language as like Spanish or whatever, Chinese or whatever it is? Is it?
The Chinese language school has been a huge success, and that's on Sundays at the high school, and that's been an independent kind of contract that's gone on.
Okay.
And that's been a very successful program. Most of our kids speak English.
They come and they speak English.
Right. I mean, there's a few. There's some. There's not a great amount in that regard, but
okay.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky.
So how are you going to be able to make a difference in East Lyme on the Board of Ed?
I have informed decisions. I've had the classroom experience. I've had some supervision. I've done a lot of training of paraprofessionals and done workshops for teachers. And I've helped people understand the whole process of language acquisition and the relationship between language and reading and writing, and helping people to master whatever it is that their subject area is. And even math has a lot of language in it, so just really understanding the whole process and the whole learning paradigm. I'm a real strong proponent of allowing kids to have whatever supports they need. You know, you're a physical therapist, so you understand physically that the person needs to be erect in their chair and properly situated with good stability and good breathing and all of that. Good proximity to the table, all of those kinds of things. Good relationship to the whiteboard or whatever it is, smartboard that they're using now, so that they have good visual opportunities to process.
Are there debates coming up in East Lyme?
There are. There are. Not for Board of...
not for the Board of Ed?
Not for Board of Ed, no. For selectmen, the two first selectmen.
How many people are actually running for the Board of Ed? Do you know?
6.
Is it 6 new people, or is it
Well, no, a couple of them are already on.
Okay.
Right.
So do they have to rerun?
Yeah,
They do,
absolutely.
so-
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting. And some people have been on it for a while, so maybe fresh blood or good
I
new
think fresh
information.
blood's needed almost anywhere today.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
It's gotten, a lot of things have gotten very stale.
Right.
So-
And that's one thing, because we've lived all over, my husband and me, you
Yeah,
know,
you
good
guys
news,
did
bad
it.
news. You get perspective.
You
You
do.
understand how it was done here. And that was the thing that was so interesting for me when my husband and I first moved here. People said to me, that's not how we do it here. And I was like, really? Why? Like, and then they get kind of mad at me, like, why are you asking why? And I was like, because I've seen it done differently in
Yeah.
other places. Not like I'm trying to be confrontational or affrontive, but I've seen it done differently. So slowly people start to say, oh, that would be okay.
Do any of your siblings live in Connecticut?
No. I wish. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm one of 9.
Right.
4 of us are still living. 5 of us have passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean,
Thank you.
'cause-
But we call ourselves the Final 4. March Madness. So we like to celebrate. And I'm the baby now.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
okay.
finally the baby of the
Okay.
family and the only girl. So
Okay.
yeah. And my brother, one is down in Texas. We're really spread out. One's in Texas, one's in Nebraska, and one's in Maryland. So,
Had any of them come to the East?
oh, they come visit, of course.
Okay. And what do they think of this area?
Oh, they
compared
love
to-
it.
They
Yeah, my
love it,
daughter
okay.
got married last year, so
Oh,
everyone
okay.
was here for the wedding.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So, I mean, because you said Omaha and you've been in Utah. And is New England like
Home.
Your home? Is it
It's home.
I love New England.
I'm home.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't miss anything like.
Oh, well, you know, there's nothing like going back to Nebraska and looking out
yes,
over
Dorothy,
the...
there's no place like home.
See? Exactly. Like the rolling hills,
Right.
the rolled up hay, the cows in the pasture, the barn, the silo.
Okay.
I think that's really pretty.
That's okay. You can get some of that here too.
But
I've seen it.
see,
the
people
rolling
tease
hay and
me
stuff
like, why
that.
do you
Okay.
like that? I'm like,
Yeah.
I just do.
I'm telling you, this has been delightful. I'm hoping, I wrote the dates down. You're going to be at the East Lyme Community Center on Thursday. What time? Thursday the 14th.
7 p.m.
Okay.
I have some great tellers coming.
Oh, you're not going to tell?
Oh, I'm going to be the MC, so of course I'll get my little jokes in. Oh, I have a joke for
Oh,
you.
you have a joke?
I saw this when I was down in Tennessee last week. The sign said, I have a horse and I call him Mayo, and sometimes mayonnaise. Don't you love that?
That's,
See, you're going to have to
okay,
tell your
all
wife.
this- okay.
You
How
don't
long do
need,
they
you don't
usually
need for me to
last?
explain.
We're getting, it's already done. We're done. So
Okay.
thank you so much.
That was fun.
Yes, it was. Thank you.